Welcome. Oh my gosh. Cosmically Aligned podcast. We are here. We are in this moment. We are ready to record. This looks pretty aesthetic. Who am I? Who am I? Oh my god. Guys, I don't even know. I am 7 days. 7 days. No caffeine whatsoever. And I mean, I've had chocolate, so if you consider that caffeine, true. But I mean, no caffeine whatsoever. Not green tea. Amazing. And I just realized I didn't take my B supplement, but I did take my iron. That helps. Okay. Oh my goodness. I am playing around with the techie stuff and trying to get this all sorted out, but I feel like this sounds incredible and I'm freaking pumped. I am freaking pumped. So it's only going to get better and better and better from here. But I know that what's so interesting is this is a very opposite process to what I'm used to doing. Usually I wing it. I flow. I throw spaghetti at the wall. I show up, whatever, messy, whatever. But I've decided to take a slightly different approach, inspired by a really good dear friend of mine, Haley, who's going to be coming on the podcast, who inspired this live version of the podcast to create this beautiful wall to get my sign. We are going to be doing a series together called Self-Lover Girl Series. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But I also want to get my podcast up and rolling, and I got shit to share. I got so much shit to share. Oh my gosh. Okay, so techie things today are not my best friend. However, this does sound beautiful. I can hear it in my headphones. But I am going to pull up my notes for this because I really wanted to give you guys just look how beautiful chair. And I found these chairs at the most gorgeous hobby farm. She was giving them away and she's the coolest human, probably one of the coolest humans I've ever met. And I'm really hoping she'll come on my podcast one day. But it was just meant to be. You know when you just have a nudge and a thought and it drops in? I was kind of remunerating around the idea of having pink chairs for my podcast, but it just wasn't lining up at the time. And then it just got this little quiet nudge, check for pink chairs on Marketplace. Boom. First thing shows up. And I know all of our ads and everything is curated to match the things that we desire and what we're searching and looking for. But I was barely ever searching. It had been a while. It was just a thought that dropped in. Yes, I think maybe it can read our minds. But down the road, not so far from here, from the most beautiful farm, how cool. Shit just can happen like that if we're just patient and we wait. And I love being in that feminine energy. Okay, so let's get rolling. And the lighting is really good. I just need to admire this right now. I actually don't even have my lighting on, but the lighting of the day is so nice. We're getting this beautiful lighting. Bear with me as I fix these things because I'm not sure quite how I want them to line up, but this is looking so good and I just want to be and I got new lipstick today. I always have a new haircut if you haven't seen. Back to the bangs, back to the super blonde, which I love. Oh, it feels so good. Feels so good to be off caffeine, but being able to still be this energetic self. Because what I will say, and I think I can really attest this to all of quantum healing, Spirit told me 3 years ago to get off caffeine. And I don't know how long this is going to last. This is a little bit of an experiment. But Spirit told me to get off caffeine 3 years ago, and I was always dipping in, dipping out, dipping in, dipping out, dipping in, dipping out. I'm it is tough, especially being a mother, because you're on. When I think about old me before having kids, it was I could totally take caffeine because I could just sleep all day and I could just freaking, do whatever my body needs. But now I needed to create a system where my body was in the highest working vitality so that I could be the best mom and doing all the best things that I love. That brings me so much joy. Ultimately, I'm after my own joy. Anyways, I test it to quantum healing because it's a lot of moving through emotional suppressions, the energetics, the mindset, the deep levels of guilt, shame that have built up over time, what you believe to be true, that really, where is your point of focus? All these different things impact what the decisions that we make, the things that we want to do for ourselves, our motivation and that type of stuff. So I really do attest it to quantum healing, and I really want to give you guys today a quantum healing 101. I've really not put much out there. A lot of my work has been built. I go in and out of social media, but a lot of it has been word of mouth, and I know the people that have worked with me love me and they share me a lot, which is absolutely so incredible. And again, to quantum healing and cosmic alignment, because to me what cosmic alignment is really working with that energy of source, so that source energy that comes through myself and then through the universe, and I'm just circulating this energy. I'm not pulling energy from anybody else. I don't need anyone to necessarily validate me. I don't need to pull on people. I'm literally just generating and giving, and I love how that works. And I'm just learning how to manage my own capacity and create at the same time, and it's so much fun. But I will tell you, lots of self-doubt, lots of identity shifts, lots of ego deaths, all of the things come along with it. But I did share this on a podcast I just did a couple days ago. I was on Just Sat Down podcast with two amazing women, Desi and Crystal. Such a fun podcast. Highly recommend. Two moms killing it. Just sharing real life. And I mean, they're just sharing such real life of being a mother and running a business. And it's so fun to listen to and relate to. But I was just saying, we don't want to be stuck in this wheel of just healing everything and oh my god, this thing came up, because you probably heard of the onion layer when it comes to healing. There's always next layers to go, and I slightly feel like that's quote unquote a trap, but I also do think there is something to that. There is part of a process, and we can't literally just clear everything all and out in one session, because it's almost like a shock to the body. You could literally zap yourself out, because there's such an electrical charge that comes with that. I think of us as electrical being. And I know I'm kind of going off on little bits of tangents here, but this really does pull through everything I'm going to talk about quantum healing today. I do look at the body as an electrical system. So if we were to dive in but I do want to finish that part, because what I want to say is we want to always be following our joy, no matter freaking what brings us joy. And it's really finding those things in the little days. You're shifting your point of focus, and it's not going to be easy all the time. It's going to be annoying sometimes, and you're going to have to sit in your shit for a little while sometimes, and that's okay. Some people get hit harder, some don't. Depends on your karmic journey, whatever you chose to be here. But really just trusting that process and knowing that there is no such thing truly, when we look at it from a higher perspective, there is no difference between good or bad. They're just difference of energies and polarity that both create a universe. You need both the masculine, the feminine, the good, the bad, the light, and the dark. All these things that create universe energy. So quantum healing is really working with everything in the in-between, in the invisible space, everything that we can't see. So when we can look at this a little bit simply, it's working with the emotional field, the mental field, and the physical body. The spiritual body, so your soul. And there is multiple layers within that. We can say the energetics, your bigger soul connection to source, which I haven't quite put full names to. And I do want to share it. Let's say this as well. I am so much in practice. So something for me is I'm always questioning sometimes where this information comes from. Is this real? What is this that I'm really pulling out of thin air? And I've worked with a variety of coaches. I've invested a lot of money into what I understand and embody. I am a trained psychic. Truly, I'm a trained psychic. Yes, there is intuitive gifts that I have that I came in with, but all of it literally got completely suppressed my whole lifetime. And I think I was subtly using them, but I had no idea. Everything had to be unlocked and awakened. And then as it starts to drop in and I'm training, it compounds, so more and more gets opened up. So I could say so everyone can do this work. So I never want to say I have this special gift that nobody has. I love teaching this work to other people, is really being able to discover these things within yourself. And I do think on a collective level, we're just literally meant to help each other, bounce ideas off each other, soundboard each other. We literally learn from interacting with other humans. So again, when we talk about all the layers of the body, so with quantum healing, I'm looking at the four main layers. We got the emotional, mental, spiritual, and then the physical. So typically when you look at somebody, you can start to see what's energetically going on by their posture, by their facial expressions, how they dress, the way the demeanor is, the way that they show up, whatever's going on in their body, the shape of their body, those types of things. They all have a meaning towards absolutely everything in your life. And I haven't fully mapped this out, but I've heard Ali Nympho talk about this. She's absolutely incredible. She's a psychic medium, talks a lot about intuitive development. But she says I think there's 8 main areas of life. So we can think of relationships, finances, career, health, friendships. And then I can't name the other ones, but off the top of my head. But it's looking at where your physical body can literally show you all of the where you sit with all those things in your life, right? And I did want to say before that too, how I'm still very much in practice. So, and just to give you an idea of what that even means, to be a master at something, they say it takes 10,000 hours of practice, okay? I'm about a 10 to 15% of that. So super, super low, but also still decently well in getting practice, right? And so that's about 10 to 15% towards mastery. So I'm very much in practice. And ultimately, the idea is when I'm working with a client or when I'm working in a group program or anything like that, is getting you to really be in your joy, raise that vibration, trusting the process so we can clear out any of the dense energy and get you back into that aligned energy so there's no interference going on disrupting your system. because we are projected on the shit that's in our environment. Like, nobody, like, I'm gonna say a lot of people, I'm like, my spirit is saying like 80% of people don't know they're being completely like hijacked in a way. They don't know they're being pulled on, poked at, all these different things. So our energies are just completely susceptible to, following whatever order is happening. When essentially we actually do have that power to generate within ourselves, and we can start create our own reality. And then as a collective, we create the reality together. So you're most of the people that are kind of drawn to a podcast like this are starting to notice the difference going on in the world in the terms of like, you can see a reality this way and then someone sees it a completely different way, and you're just like, how are you in this reality and you're in this reality? And it can be very mind bending and mind altering, and it really truly is a perspective shift. So I think of dimensions as a perspective. So, a lot of people talk about moving to 5D. A lot of people are experiencing 5D energy because their perspective is widening and shifting, and they're seeing things from a high vibrational. There's less judgment, there's less hate, there's no love. In 5D energy, there absolutely is none of that. So it's all compassion, unconditional love, those type of things. So I had no idea where we're going to go with this. So yeah, again, it's looking at the in-between space. So I'm looking at the blueprint, and I use the psychic senses, my intuition, to help decipher the energy that we need to look at and pinpoint to get to the energetic root cause to like whatever's going on with your body. And it doesn't have to be that you have issues. You could simply be like, I have this like goal in business or this goal in my life, but I'm quite not sure how to wrap my mind around and getting to it because my belief set system doesn't think that this is possible. So we're going to open up this belief system. We're going to like literally anything is possible. And I was just watching a fun reel when this guy was like, I take money out of my infinite bank account. Like it's literally infinite. Like there's never a cap, like, and that's what I believe in, the possibilities. The only possibilities are limitations. And then you get really good at deciphering when people project on you society's ideas, and then you start to generate your own energy. And worst case scenario, you're living in your highest joy. You're living in your highest joy. I think that's what we're ultimately after, right? We just want peace for everybody. So looking at the space in between, all the invisible, the blueprint behind you, that soul connection with the human and soul connection completely fascinate me. And I was like really reflecting earlier because I feel like I couldn't stop doing this work even if I tried. Just before, launching this, my husband was really helping me decide, is this a hobby or is this a business? Because it's very much feeling like a hobby, but there's no way you can get me out of this. So let's just lead with hobby for now and see where it takes me. And I trust the process. And in the back end, I have like a huge passion with, rewriting how wealth is generated through my family. So I'm working on that in different ways, a lot more tangibly and practically, but then at the same time, I'm working on the energetics in between. And so we're creating more light and a clear channel between you and your soul. So this is what really fascinates me because, again, like I was saying, we don't entirely realize, most of us, that we are not in control or in our power because there's so many projections. We don't know how to put on that energetic protection, right? And simply the first step really is just being aware. It's just being aware of the thing. And sometimes we don't have the full answers. Like I'll tell you, I'll be super aware of a situation and something going down or a conflict or a challenge. And I'm like, I see this. I understand this. I recognize I'm triggered. And what's cool is then I won't react like crazy. But I won't have the full answer sometimes right away. And I have to be okay with that because I just want to still feel peace in the process. And then it gets really, really fun. It gets super fun. You're like, ooh, this new layer I get to move through. And also everything in your reality is a reflection of your internal world. Everything is mirroring back to you. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're lazy in one area of your life, something else is going to show up lazily. So if you feel like money's like barely coming in, but you are resisting receiving in other areas, like you resist compliments or you resist people just like giving you things, gifts and things, or you resist getting support anywhere and you're like, but money's like never coming in and it's so annoying. It's because like, you know what I mean? Like they kind of play out in different areas. And for me, I'll give you an example. So like I said at the beginning, I'm used to kind of just like throwing spaghetti at the wall, kind of like, I don't want to say half-assing, but a little bit. It's almost like I'm just going to like, bleh, see what happens. But a little bit of like a half-ass energy, which isn't always good. I'm going to show up, I'm going to be really confident, I'm going to be excited about it, but I'm like not going to like put the full love effort, I guess, maybe into the aesthetics as I just did now. So what's showing up for me is kind of like a little bit of a half-ass career, a little bit of half-ass finances, a little bit of a half-ass relationship. All the different things, if that makes sense, just to keep that really simple. So I talked about this. So essentially, like when we experience like physical ailments and disease and things like that, it really is an alarm system going off in our body. This is the point. This is the maximum point now. Let's take a look. And I'm not disregarding medical treatments and Western medicine whatsoever. I think there needs to be a lot of care within the physical body the best that we can. And I think we need to take care of those areas that are causing us more stress, because the stress on our body is going to make it worse. And I think I've tried to do angles even within myself where I'm like, okay, let's go the most holistic route. But my body is stressing in one area that I can't even like heal it because it's so stressed out in one area. So like, I'll tell you, I do take Reactin every other day because I do have a really heightened sensitive nervous system. I'm in the process of clearing that trauma for a couple of years. And, but I still do take Reactin because it will put me into a really high stress state if I don't. And I could go on and on of what I think the theories are and everything around it. But I have definitely been dismantling that, which is really cool. What else? Debilitating headaches. Okay, one Advil here and there. But if it's something like you're having debilitating headaches often, this is an alarm system you need to look at. A lot of the time, something that I've learned in my Decodes program when we were doing a lot of physical health tied with like energetics and things like that, but really looking at it from a naturopathic point of view, migraines are a lot to do with constipation. It needs to be the number one cause. You need to be having 1 to 3 regular poops a day. This is like, that's like a healthy, normal human. Your food needs to process 30 minutes after. So if you're not going, you kind of are technically slightly constipated, which I think is just, we're kind of in a constipation pandemic in a way. And not to like fully gross you out, but it's like if you aren't going on the regular, that seeps back into your body and it will seep out of your pores within your skin. So when I think of that, I'm like, shit, I don't want that happening. So I'm gonna like really take care of my body, and everyone's got different things and systems moving on, but just want you to be aware, like, we don't want to just disregard these little things, because I think what happens is we have these like little things, like a little headache here and there, but it's like kind of often, but it's like kind of like okay because I can just take like an Advil and I'll totally be fine. But this is like suppressing a bigger, deep-rooted energy. So just something to be aware of. Okay, so I always think of things as like and there's an energetic root cause to everything. So, and everything is a communication from spirit. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, it's like an alarm system going off and your spirit's trying to get your attention. And they're like, they're not hearing me. And it's like, okay, like let's show up and show us something. So let me just check. So I do this work very logically too. So this is the thing. Quantum healing can have this like very woo-woo take, and yes, there's like psychic mediumship involved, but there's also like me working just with your human psyche, with your ego. How can I get this body feeling safe and on board and willing to see things differently? Because if you don't still feel safe, like we really need to get to that space, right? So there is kind of like just this traditional life coaching aspect, and I'm gonna help you remain feeling super supported, super calm, super taken care of. Yes, I can come in, I can clear energy, I can do that, I can help with those things, I can help get the remnants. I work with extraterrestrial energy, I work with my higher self, I work with spirit to help do this. And this is only in permission for what your higher self truly wants for you. So it's a little bit different for everybody, right? And I can definitely assist with those things. But ultimately, on the bigger grand scheme of things, you really want to learn how to get to that yourself, because you don't want it just to repeat again and then you come see me all the time, right? Like, you want to learn how to now never bring that energy back into your body. So like I said, like everyone, most people don't know we're being projected on hard. Energy is coming at us right front and center, and we're just vulnerable. So when we're in a lower vibration, we're vulnerable. And I love looking at David Hawkins' scale, law of vibration scale. So it's like the very bottom is apathy, and then when we go all the way to the top, it's enlightenment. And then we've got like apathy, grief, anger, fear, and then desire is in there even. And then in the middle point, we've got courage, because that's the turning point. Courage is your turning point. Courage will get you into the space of peace, joy, love, neutrality, compassion, all those ones. So when we're below courage and when there's those low states of vibration, we're more vulnerable, we're more susceptible for, like, you can call them whatever you want, dark forces, anything to come in and to kind of hijack your energy. So also a lot of the time you might start feeling a certain way and you're just like what the frick just happened? Like, you can simply just ask yourself, is this even mine? This isn't even mine? Oh my god, like, send it back, send it the frick back. And I love just commanding. I really do this simply just through commands. Like, I talk to my body, I talk to my spirit, and you don't even have to know. This is the cool thing, because in the beginning, I did not know. I had no confirmation. I worked with an energy healer, Sarah Ashley. I signed in for a 3-month private one-on-one coaching training with her. The first 5 out of 6 sessions, I was completely lost. Like, I had no idea what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, but I just was like following her guidance. And then by the 6th, I was like, oh my God, it's dropped in. It dropped the fuck in. So it's like, you're sometimes not going to always get an answer or a reply or a confirmation necessarily, but you're just going to like start to trust it. So it's just like, okay, send this energy back. This is not mine. If you're ever like in a like a big group event or something, you attended something and you're with a lot of people, whether it's a family event or anything, you could always, like, when you leave, like, take a deep breath. I call all my energy back to me, and I send all energy back that's not mine. I am sovereign. I am sovereign. I am sovereign. And really just feel how that feels in your body. And start to note that and be like, oh, that is my clean energy feeling. That is my own. And that's truly how that works. It can be quick. It can be freaking quick. So, and just to remind you, I think that's really the goal that we're all after, is really to come back to that sovereignty, come back to that own, come back to our own energy. And I just realized I'm late to pick up my daughter. So I am going to continue this. Hi, Cosmic family. Okay, so you can see I just quickly ended that podcast episode because I was already late for picking up my daughter, but I was so excited to record my first podcast since launching season 3 of Cosmically Aligned. It's a whole new energy, like I was saying in this podcast episode. So there is more that I want to share. I think I got through the basis of quantum healing 101. But I do want to expand more exactly into like what my clients experience, how their relationships truly change, finances, health, career, relationships, all the things, and how you can start really feeling the subtle energies. And I think we all notice like can you feel Wi-Fi energy? Can you feel electricity? Like, when you start to become super intuitive, these things become very sensitive to you, to this, like, that you start to notice and pick up on things. And then we go even deeper, where you start picking up on things that like aren't even spoken about. And people call this like downloads or synchronicities, and like these realizations that like have no meaning. And it truly is such a fascinating world. And we're gonna at some point dive into more alien stuff and who I channel and who I'm connected with. And I'm just so excited. So I just wanted to give you that. I will be coming back with a part 2. And if anything from this episode really supported you in any way, please feel free to share with me. You can message me on Instagram or through my website, intergalacticgoddess.com, and share this episode with anyone that you feel like it would be super supportive. And so much love for you, and thanks for being here.